Hi, and welcome to the Digital Digging YouTube channel. As you can probably hear, the echo's still with us, the studio's still not set up, but it's just a matter of time now, so bear with me, and all will be better soon. This is our third Q&A session, or Digital Dithering, as it's increasingly likely to become known as. This may or may not remain the series title, though I like it a lot. I'm a changeable being, and as soon as something shinier comes along, I shall probably latch onto it like a hagfish onto a grey whale carcass. Okay, well, in the last video I mentioned ADD or ADHD, which I forgot to mention stands for Attention Deficit Disorder or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. I got a good response, and I may or may not have mentioned that I'm going to do a video concerning this condition, focusing both on the positive aspects of this poorly understood trait and also taking a look at the evolutionary benefits it may have conferred on our ancestors in the hunter-gatherer cultures. I have yet to do this, but it's definitely in the pipeline, and in the meantime, if you want to know a little more about the subject in general, I can recommend a radio program by a chap called Rory Bremner, which actually alerted me to my own ADD. The link can be found in the description box below, and when I've settled into the new studio, I'll definitely get cracking. Ricky Wright wants to know if I can set up a further channel of communication aside from the TS3 server and Steam group. Well, thanks for asking, Ricky, but I think I'm going to stick with those two for the moment. If you'd like to tell me what problems you've got with the TS3, I'll happily try and remedy them for you. For those of you who have yet to visit, links to the TS server and the Steam group can be found in the description box below. We're a friendly lot and are always happy to see new faces or hear new voices, as the case may be. That also answers Dark Wizard's question about Steam groups, so there's two for the price of one, or two birds killed with one stone, or in fact two questions dealt with one answer, the efficiency of which I've just ruined with the addition of too many similes or analogies or whatever. I shall endeavour to be more streamlined in future. Jingu wanted to know what I thought of the Eurovision Song Contest, what I thought about the winner of said competition, and who I liked the most. Well, in line with my newfound commitment to brevity, I shall answer all three questions with a single answer, which is no. Invader Dis would like to know if I plan any Star Citizen videos, and would also love to see some naval action Twitch streams. Well, today's the day, fiber was connected and the speeds are looking mighty good for streaming. Naval action is definitely on the list. I've heard rumours about more widespread open world testing soon, and the game seems to be coming along nicely. To this end, I've set up a Twitch account, the address for which can be found in the description box below. Please feel free to go along and follow me so that when I eventually manage to work out how it's done, you'll be amongst the first to know. As for Star Citizen, Star Citizen looks fantastic, and their public engagement through YouTube and the forums is second to none. Almost everything they've done in terms of organisation, innovation and archiving is intensely interesting and will probably be the subject of a video in its own right. I am, however, going to let it develop considerably before investing, because what's going to sell me is the FPS aspect of the game, and I've yet to see enough of it to be convinced into parting with any hard or otherwise earned cash. I've already done this with Elite Dangerous, and though it too has many fascinating aspects, I probably shan't be loading it up before Christmas next. It's a great game, and from a technical standpoint alone, it's an incredible achievement. The fact that they've created a 1-to-1 scale digital version of the Galaxy is alone astounding, and the soundboard and soundtracks are tremendous. Exploration is a delight, and the immersion is very convincing. However, and this may come as a surprise to those of you who know me as an impetuous brawler, I find being yanked out of hyperspace, or whatever it's called, and subjected to a fierce attack so intrusive that it breaks immersion and leaves me royally pissed off. It could just be that I'm awful in combat unless I have a horizon, and I've always found 3D space shooters frustrating, as for most of the time you can't actually see what you're shooting at, or more importantly what's shooting at you. But the change of pace between casually spacing out in deep space and suddenly being brutally assailed by unseen assailants jars with the rest of it, for me at any rate. Additionally, the grind in Elite is, as they say, very real, and until more factors come into play, it's not particularly obvious what the payoff is. However, it is a popular game, so perhaps it's just me, or perhaps it's just because I am seemingly the only person on the planet who never played the original game and therefore didn't know what I was getting into. Never mind. These are, when compared with the plight of many humans across the globe, the most trivial problems imaginable. Still a pain in the arse though. And speaking of pains in the arse, I uploaded some gameplay from the new EA Star Wars Battlefront that was released at E3 this week. What a bad idea that turned out to be. I thought I'd bring you a little exciting Star Wars action in case you were the only person who hadn't actually seen it, and as a side effect, promote EA's new game for free. What actually happened was that I received my first ever copyright strike. I of course deleted the video immediately, but that doesn't actually matter. If I accidentally do it again within 30 days, my channel will be essentially crippled for another 30 days. Now don't get me wrong, it's EA's material and they have every right to object to people using it without permission, and indeed stop them from doing so. However, this was an honest mistake on my part. I had no intention to defraud the company or pass the material off as my own, and some of the following is in fact directed at Google and the way these things are handled. So this is just my opinion, but I think if EA were a little more relaxed about people sharing their Star Wars video, then ultimately it would be exposed to far more eyeballs at no expense to the company whatsoever. It's their decision not to do this, and this is fair enough. Somewhat baffling, but fair enough. However, I think there are other ways of alerting people to worldwide bans, which can easily lead to a channel being effectively hobbled for a month. Here's the thought: instead of a strike, why don't Google instead make the offending video unwatchable, perhaps through some variation of the private setting, and then alert the channel owner to the situation and allow them to delete it or dispute it behind the scenes. That way, although the strictest terms of the copyright, that of storing the material in an electronic retrieval device, would still be breached, there would be no way the channel owner could possibly benefit from the situation unless it was a false positive and it gave them an opportunity to straighten their accusers out with no strikes against them. As it stands, if I accidentally do it again within 30 days, my channel will go south and you'll have to bear with me or desert me as you see fit. I have no idea what EA's gameplay video policy for Battlefront will be on final release, but I for one will not be going near it with a barge pole unless I know for sure I'm not going to receive a strike. Calin Meir was curious about the reasons behind the lack of interest in Middle European early medieval history amongst Western historians and archaeologists, and if I had any personal thoughts on the matter. Well, to be perfectly honest, I hadn't paid the situation much attention, so I thought I'd ask someone who knew what they were talking about. This person is Sean McGlynn, an expert in medieval history, a frequent contributor to the BBC History magazine, and the author of a number of fine books on the subject, links to which can be found below. The following is Sean's response. I presume Middle European means Central. If so, the response is mainly language. Very few historians can work with the sources or read the secondary works. That might be changing post-Soviet bloc and the interchange of academics now. The later period is covered more, I suspect, because of expanding Islam and the role of the empire as a bulwark against it. Well, there you go, Calin Meir. I hope that answered your question. Malt Magnum would like to know if I would consider continuing the A Study in Scarlet chapter reading I tried many moons ago. Well, I'm tempted, but I'm not terribly comfortable doing accents or other voices, so it might get quite flat after a while. Your question did, however, prompt me to look at other things I could read, including Conan Doyle's Lost World. Within minutes of scanning the text, I thought it would certainly be fun, particularly if I could perhaps draw some other people into the reading. Squire sprang to mind, and he has tentatively agreed to my tentative inquiries, so who knows, perhaps the two idlest YouTubers known to man and woman will pull something off between them. Finally, What Truck wondered what my thoughts on the TV series Vikings were and whether I'd consider a podcast. I actually thought Vikings was pretty interesting to begin with and went from strength to strength. Not being a Viking expert, I can't attest to its accuracy, but at least the actors looked as though they lived in a world which was short of hot and cold running water and volumizing hair products. As you almost certainly already know, all TV should be taken with a pinch of salt, and although liberties were almost certainly taken, I didn't however see anything that actually made me want to cry. I believe there's another series in the works, and I'll be looking forward to seeing where they take the story next. As for podcasting, I've often thought I might like to give it a try. However, a format has yet to make itself apparent. Last night I had an idea to go through the various posts from the Digital Digging Facebook page, pick out the most interesting ones, and perhaps do a weekly podcast running through them in a little more detail. I think I'd probably like to have guests on too, so it sounds like I may have a format after all. Let me know if that's the kind of thing you'd like to listen to. Okay, well that's it for this session. Thanks for watching or listening. Don't forget to have a look at the links in the description box below if you'd like to join the Steam group, the Twitch channel, or turn up for a chat in TeamSpeak. Or you might like a look at some of Sean's books, or in fact all of these things. Right then, cheerio chaps, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one. Bye bye.